asking, why aren't we asking tough questions? Why aren't we asking Geno what he thinks about Caitlin Clark now? What he thinks about how he completely misinterpreted the impact she would have on the league, misjudged the impact she would have on the league. None of this is coming out. None of this is being asked about. None of this is being said.
Sometimes revenge doesn't roar. Sometimes it whispers. And when it whispers, empires crumble. For decades, Geno Auriemma ruled women's basketball, untouchable, legendary, the gatekeeper of every rising star. But one name, one talent, one quiet decision would shake everything he built. Caitlin Clark. She wasn't loud. She wasn't angry. But the world was about to witness a silent storm, a storm that would dismantle power, arrogance, and legacy. Before we dive in, make sure you watch till the end, because what happens next is so shocking. It will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about women's basketball.
Like I said earlier, they actually had odds that, she was like third or fourth in the betting odds to be MVP of the WNBA. That's such a slap in the face to every WNBA player. It's unbelievable.
Clark grew up dreaming of greatness. The arenas, the banners, the legends. Everything about women's basketball was her world. And at first, she believed her path led through Geno, but the call never came. Not a text, not a phone call. Silence. Years of ignoring her, underestimating her, brushing off her brilliance. A quiet dismissal that spoke louder than any insult. You weren't their priority. You weren't important. Most would crumble under that weight. Clark filed it away. She waited. She planned. She prepared. At Iowa, Clark became the program, the face of a movement, the lightning rod for a sport ready to explode. Every shot, every record, every sold-out arena became proof. She didn't need approval. She didn't need banners. She needed herself. Meanwhile, Geno watched, powerless.
MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad name. Okay, so the kid was set up for failure right from the beginning. So if you're a WNBA player, and believe me, I've coached the best, and I've pissed them off a lot, and they let me know about it. But they were tremendously disrespected. And none of them are going to say it. But human nature is, okay, this kid's coming into the league.
His empire began to shift without him. His words, once law, now echoed hollowly against Clark's rise. Years later, the opportunity appeared. $1 million offer crawling back into Clark's lap. Short contract. Huge money. On paper, a dream. But this wasn't about money. It was about respect. It was about a man who dismissed her as a teenager thinking he still held power. She said no. One word, quiet, devastating. And in that silence, the first cracks in the empire appeared. Geno doubled down. Condescending comments, sly digs in interviews, subtle jabs at her fans. Every time Clark's name appeared, he tried to shrink her brilliance. But every dig, every insult, only fueled the storm.
And we send them up to the WNBA, and then they have something good to work with. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So it still comes back to those of us that are in charge of the game. Are we making the game better every day? Are we making our players better every day?
Geno, are you making the game better every day, Geno? Are these interviews where you downplay the biggest star the WNBA has ever seen, does that make the game better? Does that push the game forward? Every time we turn on a new Geno Auriemma interview and you're talking about how good Paige is and not how good Caitlin is, does that push the game better? Every time you ignore the face of the league, does that push the game better? Every time you downplay her accomplishments, does that make the game better? Every time you try to say to fans, hey fans, what your eyes are telling you is completely wrong. Listen to me, I've been doing this forever. I'm right, you're wrong. Does that make the game better? Does that push the game forward? No. No, 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 no. Again, that's the issue that we have with the media. They don't want to ask these questions, folks.
Every sold-out arena, every viral highlight, every record shattered reminded the world he wasn't king anymore. The fans? They cheered. They watched a legend fall while a new icon rose in silence. Clark's rookie season in the WNBA was a masterclass in silent revenge. Rookie of the Year All-WNBA First Team Top 4. MVP Geno's predictions of failure? Shattered. Every insult backfired. Every slight exposed him further. The silent revenge was complete. No tweets, no rants. Just results. It wasn't just about winning. It was about power, legacy, and dignity. Clark had built an empire of her own making, proving that greatness doesn't need permission. Geno had spent decades shaping narratives, molding perceptions, controlling the spotlight. And yet, all it took was her brilliance and her silence to make him irrelevant. Fans, players, and the world saw it unfold. The quiet dismantling of a legendary empire by a young woman who refused to kneel.
As Geno was saying this tongue-in-cheek, but you know what they say, folks, there's truth in every joke. There's a bit of truth in every joke. Caitlin Clark, the best player in the country. Truth. Best player of all time. Truth. Now you saying it tongue-in-cheek is like, Caitlin, please don't come for me. I'm saying you're the best. Don't come for me, please. Don't drop 50 on us. But she didn't drop 50, but she still walked out of there with a W. She still walked out of there with a win. I'm not sure what Caitlin Clark did to Geno Auriemma, other than take the shine that he thought Paige was gonna have, and it's all on Caitlin Clark. The popularity that you thought Paige was gonna get, it's Caitlin Clark's. The superstardom that you think Paige was gonna get, that's Caitlin Clark's. Folks, doing this on TikTok doesn't make you a superstar. Sorry. Being 23, beating on 18-year-olds doesn't make you a superstar. Sorry. Holding off for a 5th year in college so you can now go number 1 instead of number 2 doesn't make you a superstar. Sorry. It doesn't. It doesn't. But don't take my word for it.
Every sold-out arena, every viral highlight, every record shattered. A quiet reminder to Geno, he no longer controlled the narrative. She didn't need to speak. She didn't need to gloat. The results, the numbers, the moments, they spoke louder than any insult or attempt to undermine her. Her empire wasn't just rising, it was redefining women's basketball forever. Some revenge whispers. Some rewrites history. Caitlin Clark did both. Geno's empire is no more. Not with banners torn down, not with words forgotten, but in the echoes of every arena she dominates, in the headlines she creates, and in the legacy she forges. His control has vanished. The lesson? Respect greatness before it walks past you. Some victories don't need noise. They need patience, talent, and the courage to say no.